sitting all alone. His blankets are made out of cardboard, and his pillows are made out of stone. Every face tells a story, it never tells a lie. Every face tells a story, it never tells a lie. See the man walking on the water, see the light in his eyes. He came into the world with a message to tell. He came into the world to die. Every face tells a story, it never tells a lie. Every face tells a story, it never tells a lie.
Would you welcome Cliff Richard?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening to you all. It's a great pleasure to be back in South Africa. I've been, I think, 5 times over the last 18 years or so. And each time I've always felt very, very welcome indeed. But this time, you know, really, it's too much that you should have actually arranged clouds. Because we left it at home and we arrived, and it bucketed down. But it's nice to be here. Looking around, it just seems to me that maybe my first choice of song might be wrong, because can anybody remember The Young Ones? Yeah. I see. Well, you're older than I thought. The young ones, darling, we're the young ones. And young ones shouldn't be afraid to live, love, while the flame is strong. For we may not be the young ones very long. Tomorrow, why wait until tomorrow? 'Cause tomorrow sometimes never comes. So love me. There's a song to be sung, and the best time is to sing it while we're young. What's in every lifetime comes a love like this. Oh, I need you, you need me. Oh, my darling, can't you see? Young dreams should be dreams together, and young hearts shouldn't be afraid. And someday, when the years have flown, darling, then we'll teach the young ones of our own. Once in every lifetime comes a love like this. Oh, I need you, you need me. Oh, my darling, can't you see? Young dreams should be dreams together, and young hearts shouldn't be afraid. And someday, when the years have flown, darling, then we'll teach the young ones of our own. Oh, oh, oh. Teach the young ones of our own. Thank you very much indeed. I just feel it's a terrific opportunity to have so many South Africans all under one piece of canvas, just to clear a couple of things up. You see, when I arrived a couple of days ago at Johannesburg Airport, a press man said to me, you know, well, now that you're a Christian, of course, you've given up singing all this rock and roll stuff. And I went, no, I haven't. I can still remember how it even goes, you know. And I just wanted to clear up, really, the fact that I became a Christian 12 years ago has only really made me more interested in keeping up with what's happening musically. Because, I mean, well, we'll get into why later on, but I still sing rock and roll music. I still make albums. I released one last year called I'm Nearly Famous. I've just released another one. In fact, when I arrived, my record company tells me that it came out on Friday, and it was called Every Face Tells a Story. And we've had one single from that album already, which was called Hey, Mr. Dreammaker. I wonder if you know that one. It's... Josie's gone now. She cried a lot, had to go away. No, I miss her, I wanna kiss her. Ain't it just the way? But it's no way at all. 'Cause if you knew what I'm going through, you'd know. But there's one thing wrong with the way I'm living. Ain't got no Josie no more. Hey, Mr. Dreammaker, send me a dream. This one is over, it's not what it seems. And so tonight when I turn out the light, send me a new dream tonight. She didn't say much, just a little touch, and she was on her way. Ooh, I could have cried then, instead I died then. She left me standing dazed, but it's no use crying. That's what everybody tells me, and they all seem to know. That there's one thing wrong with the way I'm living. Ain't got no Josie no more. And Mr. Dreammaker, send me a dream. This one is over, it's not what it seems. And so tonight when I turn out the light, send me a new dream tonight. Hey, Mr. Hey, Mr. Hey, Mr. Dreammaker. Mr. Dreammaker, send me a dream. This one is over, it's not what it seems. And so tonight when I turn out the light, send me a new dream tonight. Ah, send me a new dream tonight. Hey, Mr. Dreammaker, send me a dream. This one is over, it's not what it seems. And so tonight when I turn out the light, send me a new dream tonight. Ah, send me a new dream tonight. Thank you very much. So my pop career continues, but I did become a Christian 12 years ago, and I've always found it very difficult, actually, to find really good gospel music that has merit in itself musically, you know, because I don't want to just sing gospel music because I'm a Christian, but because it's good music. And there's a guy called Larry Norman who has a well, has a great deal of my respect as a songwriter. He's a very fine Christian guy that I know personally, and he has written many songs, and I'd like to feature a couple of them at the moment. This one is called The Outlaw. Some say he was an outlaw, that he roamed across the land with a band of unschooled ruffians and a few old fishermen. No one knew where he came from and didn't know what he had done, but they said it must be something bad that kept him on the run. Some say he was a poet, that he'd stand upon a hill, that his voice could calm an angry crowd and make the waves stand still. He spoke in many parables that few could understand, and the people sat for hours to listen to this man. Some say he was a sorcerer, a man of mystery, that he could walk upon the water and make a blind man see. He conjured wine at weddings and did tricks with fish and bread, and he talked about being born again, raised people from the dead. Some said a politician who spoke out for being free. He was followed by the masses on the shores of Galilee. He spoke out against corruption, and he bowed to no decree. And they feared his strength and his power, so they nailed him to a tree. Nailed him. Ooh. Some say he was the Son of God, a man above all men, and that he came to be a servant and set us free from sin. That's who I believe he was, because that's who I believe. And I think we should get ready. It's time for us to leave. Thanks a stack, you oaks. When I was up in Canada, I didn't have much money. You know, my toes were cold and my clothes had holes and my nose was kinda runny. I met this long hair on the street. He said, now look, you look like you'd like to eat. I said, a glass of Coke and a hot dog's fine. He said, well, how about bread and a glass of wine? I said, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said, my body's tired, but my heart's inspired and my hunger's growing. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said, my body's tired, but my heart's inspired and my hunger's growing. He took a loaf of Wonder Bread, but then he bowed his head. Then he filled my cup, drink it up, my friend. It tasted better than the health food did. Then he looked into my eyes. I was quite surprised. He said, you're locked inside, but I can set you free, and you can live forever if you follow me. Well, I said, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said, my body's tired, but my heart's inspired, and my hunger's growing. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said my body's tired, but my heart's inspired and my hunger's growing. When I was up in Canada, I didn't have much money. You know, my toes were cold and my clothes had holes and my nose was kind of runny. I met this long hair on the street. He said, now look, you look like you'd like to eat. I said, a glass of Coke and a hot dog's fine. He said, well, how about bread and a glass of wine? I said, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said, my body's tired, my heart's inspired, and my hunger's growing. Ooh, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said, my body's tired, my heart's inspired, and my hunger's growing. Lead me on, 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 where you going? Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on, where you going? I said my body's tired, my heart's inspired, and my hunger's growing. Ooh, my body's tired, my heart's inspired, my hunger's growing. I said my hunger's growing. Feed me, Lord, my hunger's growing. I said my body's tired, my heart's inspired, and my hunger, well, it's growing. Thank you very much indeed. I think this is I was going to say my last visit, my third visit to South Africa since 1970. And on each occasion, I've been accompanied by a friend of mine who is the deputy director of an organization called Tear Fund. And just at this point, I'd like to say that I'd like to say thanks for being invited to South Africa by Tear Fund South Africa. And today they loaned me to GoTel, who organized this afternoon's meeting and this one too. So coming back to Tear Fund Great Britain, may I introduce you please to the Deputy Director of Tear Fund, Mr. Bill Latham.
Thank you, and this is where you get confused by the similarity of our hairstyles. Oh. Actually, a while back, Cliff and I were in London, and a little girl stopped him in the street and asked him for his autograph, which you duly gave. And while he was signing, she looked me up and down, gave me a very old-fashioned look, and in a lovely Cockney accent said, "You his dad, then?" My role really this evening is just to put some questions to Cliff that I hope will clarify what he's doing here and his role in show business and all the rest of it. Before we get stuck into the chat and people have got to start concentrating hard, you mentioned an album which was released by, well, no, by careful planning, I guess, 2 days ago. Every Face Tells a Story. You've only performed it, I think, twice before in public.
Yes.
Perhaps we could make it a third time now?
Yes.
Every Face Tells a Story, Cliff.
Excuse me, must have a cough now and then. Look at the man in the corner. He's sitting all alone. His blankets are made out of cardboard, and his pillows are made out of stone. Every face tells a story. It never tells a lie. Every face tells a story. It never tells a lie. See the man walking on the water. See the light in his eyes. He came into the world with a message to tell. He came into the world to die. Every face tells a story. It never tells a lie. Every face tells a story. It never tells a lie. You're always telling stories. You're always telling me lies. You're always telling stories. Why? Look at yourself in the water, seeing your days flashing by. It's too late to be what you wanted to see. It's too late and now you must die. Every face tells a story. it never tells a lie. Every face tells a story, it never tells a lie. You're always telling stories, you're always telling me lies, you're always telling stories. Why? Step down and make it work out right. Trying to get to you with my warning. I've been here for nearly half the night. Well, look, it's nearly 4 in the morning. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Cliff, let's get straight into maybe the question that puzzles a lot of people. Here you are singing raucously your rock and roll, music that you love, and yet there are a lot of people who don't understand how it is that you are able to bridge a show business career, being a rock and roll singer, and at the same time being involved very deeply indeed in the Christian life. For some, it's a contradiction. Is it for you? Do you find yourself having to sort of split yourself down the middle, two different people?
No, I must say I don't. I think I can understand why people feel that way. I mean, there have been all sorts of weird and wonderful and sometimes not so wonderful opinions about show business and the people that are in it. But I personally have never found any great struggle to be a Christian in show business. I think one has to get it settled first and foremost. Is one a Christian? If one is a Christian and if one knows that one is this thing called a Christian, then everything else kind of falls into line. I mean, no one would ever dream of going up to some banker and say, do you find it difficult being a Christian and being a banker? I mean, it's just not on. No one thinks of doing that, and yet it must be just as difficult for someone like that to be a Christian. I personally believe it's very difficult to be a Christian these days anywhere. I mentioned in the first meeting that possibly one of the most difficult places to be a Christian is at school, let alone show business. Because, I mean, I know that young people can be a little bit tactless, putting it mildly, and if you're a Christian and you're a young person at school, your friends can very soon become very, very hurtful, and I don't know whether I could cope with that situation, but I've never found it a great split down the middle. I am a Christian, and I happen to be a pop singer, and I take my Christianity with me wherever I go. I mean, I hope very much in the very near future that I'll get a chance to come back and just sing rock and roll here in South Africa. Now, if I do, I shall still be a Christian, you know. I mean, nothing's going to change. I shall just be singing rock and roll. Why not?
Why should the devil have all the good music? Just happens to be a song which you were practicing this afternoon. I asked him this afternoon if he'd sing this, and he couldn't play it, but since then you've had a bash. Have a bash now, will you?
I always, at these occasions, miss my band a great deal, but it's a terrific song, and I'll do as much of it as I can remember. I want the people to know that he saved my soul, but I still like to listen to the radio. They say that rock and roll is wrong, but give you one more chance. I said I feel so good, I gotta get up and dance. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I don't confuse it. All I want to know is why should the devil have all the good music? And I feel good every day, because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. They say to cut my hair, they're driving me insane. I grew it out long to make room for my brain. Sometimes people don't understand what's a good boy doing in a rock and roll band. There's nothing wrong with playing a blues lick. Well, if you got a reason, tell me to my face. Why should the devil have all the good music? There's nothing wrong with what I play. because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. All right. Now I ain't knocking the hymns. Just give me a song that's got a beat. No, I ain't knocking the hymns. Give me a song that moves my feet. Ancient modern golden bells. Ancient modern golden bells. Jesus told the truth. Jesus showed the way. And there's one more thing I'd like to say. They nailed him to the cross and they laid him in the ground. But they should have known they can't keep a good man down. I feel good every day, I don't want to lose it. All I'm really trying to say is why should the devil have all the good music? And I've been filled and I feel okay. Because Jesus is the rock and he roll my blues. Jesus is the rock and he roll my blues. Jesus is the rock and he roll my blues away.
If there's a song which you often sing in connection with Tear Fund, the words are very appropriate. It's called very simply, Why Me, Lord? Sing that one, Cliff.
Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one of the pleasures I've known? Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do that was worth loving you and the kindness you've shown? Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Tell me, Lord, if you think there's a way I could try to repay all I've taken from you. Maybe, Lord, I could show someone else what I've been through myself on my way home to you. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands.
It's, Cliff, obviously a fact, an obvious fact, that your involvement in Tear Fund, your work with the Arts Centre, the very fact that you're standing on this platform in Joburg has only happened because of that event which occurred 12 years ago, which brought you onto the Christian scene, as it were. And maybe we ought to explain that, because there could be some who, as it were, cannot understand what it was that brought you into this whole area of the Christian life. Could you just briefly spell out the event that happened 12 years ago?
Well, let me say that it really all began because having been a singer for about 3 years, the Shadows and I would come off stage and we'd be in some hotel, some far off town, and we'd be talking away, and I'd suddenly think, boy, it was great on stage. Yeah, it was great on stage. And over a period of weeks and probably months, I suddenly thought, well, wow, life isn't really about 1 hour on stage a night. It's a bit more than that. And I began to be a bit disillusioned and a little bit, not depressed, nothing too heavy, but just a little unhappy about things. And I got really serious, and I started to talk with people. And conversations would always come around to sort of sex, politics, and religion, really. Not necessarily in that order, but more and more often I found that religion would crop up, and I thought, wait a minute. I'd had this sort of vague, churchy sort of background, and I'd had little phrases like the chosen people. And I thought, well, they were the Jews, and I knew some Jewish people, so I spoke with them for a little while. I talked to them, I plastered them with questions, and I never really got anything from them, particularly in terms of their faith. So I then moved on, and I met with Jehovah's Witnesses. And I have them to thank for me reading my Bible again. And really, having read my Bible, I found that I had no desire to be a Jehovah's Witness. And I then met Christians. And really, this is where the change came in, because I thought, well, this is strange, really, because they definitely are different. If someone had said to me 13 years ago, are you a Christian? I'd have said, of course I'm Christian. I'm British. I mean, it was just... I'm glad you know what I mean. It just seemed synonymous, I mean, because I wasn't a Jew and I wasn't a Buddhist, I mean, I must have been a Christian. So it wasn't until I met up with these guys that called themselves Christians, and I thought, well, wait a minute, there's a fantastic difference, though, the way they behave, the way they think, the way they talk about what they believe, and the way they talk about Jesus in particular. And I thought, we talked and talked and talked, and I asked them questions. And I think the final time was when I discovered that really the thing that was different was that I came to a point, for instance, where I believed things about Jesus, but they seemed to have gone one step further, and they were talking about having started a relationship with him. I mean, I hope you can see that there's a kind of a difference there. And someone had said to me, why don't you read, it's in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 20. It's a terribly famous one. It's probably why I remember it. Jesus' words, and they were these: behold, I stand at the door and I knock, and whoever opens the door, I will come in. And I thought, well, I believe all these things. Now, I've never, ever invited Jesus into my life. I mean, I'd never at that point said, okay, I believe in you, take over. So one night I was lying in my bed, and I remember saying, okay, I give in, really. I've asked my questions. I firmly believe that you do exist. Now then, would you mind coming in? I mean, it's as simple as that, really, because that is the moment when I actually said, please come in. Now, looking back on it, it's easy for me to look back and say, yes, that is the moment. I didn't hear any distant drums. I didn't hear any voices in my ears. There was no blinding light like St. Paul had. And I mean, I wish I had all those. It'd be so much easier to tell you about it. But nothing. I felt quite good that night, slept quite well. Didn't wake up the next morning feeling particularly religious. But now, looking back, I can say that is the moment. That is the time when, having believed certain factors, I had said, okay, Jesus, please, I need what you've got to offer, what you've given these other people. I mean, I want it. And I believe he came into my life at that point. So that is the moment 12 years ago, Bill, which was the drastic sort of turnaround. And really, I mean, it is the reason I'm here. I've caught myself at meetings before now. I get invited to universities and schools and colleges. And often in the middle of a meeting, I'll be thinking to myself, what am I doing here? I'm a rock and roll singer. And I really catch myself thinking that way. And I suddenly think, well, of course, the reason why I'm here is because 12 years ago, Jesus did something that's really a miracle. I mean, he was able to enter a life like mine and just turn it around. And that's what I'm doing here, really, just to be able to share the experience with other people. All right, what you do with what we talk about is up to you entirely. Nobody can be forced into it. But I feel that my responsibility now as a Christian is to say, well, whether you believe it or not, this is what happened to me, and it's made my life a million times better. I enjoy it much more. I feel it's fulfilled much more. And if it can happen for me, crumbs, I'm sure it can happen for other people.
You haven't sung any songs that you've written this evening, but there's one that says, Lord, I love you, which again seems appropriate that you should sing now.
Lord, I love you. There's no doubt about it. And I want you to take me home. Lord, I love you. Please take me home. But I know each day spent here below must be spent just letting other people know that I love you. Leave no doubt about it, that I want you to take me home. Oh, I want you to take me home. Though at times life seems as good as it's gonna get, you can take it from me that we ain't seen nothing yet. There's a heaven, not too distant future, and there's a glory we can call home. Lord, I love you. There's no doubt about it, no, and I want you to take me home. Lord, I love you. Please take me home. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did as such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were an offering far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my own.
Last night I had a dream. Through a swirling fog I walked alone on the edge of the stream. I heard somebody groan. I stopped. I looked into a pool and I saw the reflection of a fool. I saw the reflection of a fool. Dragging him by his throat with a collar and the links of a chain. On his shoulders a coat, on his feet shoes of pain. The coat was striped, the chain was bright. I saw the reflection and I cried. I saw the reflection and I cried. Tears for myself, the fool, a man chained by independence, gripped by despair so cruel. My life was a lot of nonsense, my eyes were closed, but in my mind I saw the reflection, so unkind. I saw my reflection, so unkind. Sick of life, scared of death, my day's just one long futility. Feeling my emptiness, I cried, God set me free. I looked once more, and I don't know how, but I saw the reflection changing now. I saw my reflection changing now. A man was in my place, a man with holes in his hands and side, a man I could not face, the man I had crucified. On him was my coat, my chains and my shoes, and between reflections I must choose. 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 Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my